welcome to just another episode of Conversations with Coaches. I'm Luba Diasamidze, the founder of Upthink Coaching, and I'm on a mission here to record first-hand experience from coaching professionals from all around the globe who work with different niches and who use different approaches in their work. And today I'm really honored to present to you Ania Lichota, an MCC credentialed coach who has a wealth of experience around family business coaching. And that's our topic today. Hi, Ania, and welcome again.
Thank you very much, Luba. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let's start with a short self-introduction. Would you cover a few details about yourself and anything that you feel like sharing?
Thank you. So I think my current version of myself stems from three different perspectives. One is an international career in a corporate setting over 20 years. The other one is athletic career. So I climbed the highest peak on every continent. I did some cycling ultras, ran Marathon des Sables. So exposed myself and experimented with the body, mind, soul connection in that way. And then for the last 14 years, I have been leading and guiding leaders through unfathomable self-reflective journeys. So I'm a transformational coach and also inspirational speaker. I'm an author, and I do some board advisory work as well.
Lovely. And where are you currently based?
In the UK, just north of London.
Okay, lovely. Great. So what brought you into coaching family businesses?
Well, a synchronicity, if I may say. The best marketing strategy. When you become ready, the audience that can benefit from your service appears in your life as a coach. And I really stand in that belief. So as I worked through my own family system, in a way could stand on my own and went back and reconciled what made me me, the family businesses came in.
Right. Could you unpack a little bit? Because just in case for some of our listeners, this definition as such, like family business coaching, may be a little bit vague. So what does that cover? Who qualifies under a family business coaching client?
Yes, so it might be a multi-generational family, like in its third generation of people going within the family in inheriting the running of the business.
Okay.
So it's heirs of founders.
Yes.
3 generations down. It can be a first generation of founder, CEO, and now they found themselves in, how do I leave the business to create even larger legacy through handing it over to future generations? If I claim enough as a founder and a person who got wealth and prosperity in my life and immediate family, how can I transform that into a lasting legacy, maybe of doing good in the business? How do I invest? Some businesses who are in second, third generations want to split. Some families want to move up to managing a board of the family and leave the business to external or outside of the family CEOs and managers. So all those transitions and entanglements coming with that, because coaching in family business is a sacred crossroad of love, leadership, and business.
Yeah. It does sound quite complex, doesn't it? There's common saying that our company is like a family. We have a family culture. And as a team coach, to that I often say, well, you know, there are families and families. Not all families are well functioning, you know, and when people say that our company works like a family, there could be a lot of complex dynamics inside of
Yes,
that.
that's right. So I work with family businesses in two dimensions. One is enhancing when the team or the family is already humming,
Right.
in a way, when that dynamic is coherent, and we can enhance the impact in the world and on themselves.
Yeah.
And the other is the entanglement, the dysfunctional teams or dysfunctional families
Mm-hmm.
that are struggling with something. That there is a context overlay where the business is not, is reflecting a complicated family dynamics. And we help them untangle that, and then a flow can happen, whatever the flow is.
Yeah. So, how are family business clients different from other coaching clients, from, say, from co founders who are not a family?
There is an additional emotional pull, a hidden loyalties sometimes
Yeah.
in the family. And it's really, really subtle. So
Mm-hmm.
be able as a coach to operate on a level of frequency of perception that is much deeper than a normal behavioral coaching or even mindset shift coaching. It's a really, I divide coaching into like hard skills, leadership, then soft, and then subtle.
Okay.
And I find that family especially requires that subtle perception.
And could you unpack this subtle perception? It sounds really interesting. So, what does that involve?
So it's a certain holding, it's like a meta capability, and operating on a meta level skill or feeling yourself,
Yeah.
where you can hold a paradox. When you can, for example, I understand you love them, but you don't like them. And it's not mutually exclusive, because that exists in families and businesses.
Yeah.
So when you can hold the paradoxes and dive into for example, a third generation founder and the people who are now struggling, shall we sell the business that they founded to expand and evolve, can be a total peace.
Mm-hmm.
That they don't feel guilt or betraying the founders, changing the brand or a logo that the founder might be very hidden loyalty or dynamic pulling them into that they cannot make a correct or at this moment of time in business decision to sell, divest, merge, cannibalize of whatever is in the business portfolio, family portfolio, to develop something else that would serve the future generations. They too much looking back.
Yeah. So, what skills do you think are important for a coach other than holding a paradox? Because I can imagine it would be sometimes difficult to stay away from this dynamics. You could be drawn into this, or maybe a less experienced coach could be drawn into this easily, especially when emotions arise.
Yes, we sometimes are prone to fix, and there's nothing to fix. So you have to raise above the woundedness of the system or a person or a process or procedure or a decision even. There are no wrong decisions. They have to go and test out whatever they have to go and test out. So it's very intuitive convergence and staying in your own truth, and sometimes telling them very inconvenient or uncomfortable things that they need to hear, which touches the sacredness of the family connection. So it's a very sensitive area.
It is.
You want to be able to invoke the family spirit. Like if grandma was sitting here, what would she say? Listening to your conversation, they are bored and that totally passes the rational mind of what they were arguing about, for example, at the moment of time. What? Well, if it was a conversation with your grandma, what would she say?
Yeah. Interesting.
Smile on that decision? Or would she say, over my dead body? And you
Well, and
see
I'm
how,
sure they may have this grandma's voice, right, in their head, although they may not realize it before you
yeah,
ask.
yes, yes.
Right.
So yes, it's holding, it's really being, not even responsive, because we react at the beginning of our careers and when we are junior to any life story. Then we start responding if we yield and are more giving and surrendered. And then there's another place to be where you really truly create from within. When you are fully individuated as an adult, you don't even respond. You just flower from within.
Right. So you kind of work with the potential of the family, right?
Exactly.
Not necessarily with the content that they bring to you. Would that be a correct assumption?
Yeah, beautiful put. Thank you. Yeah.
Right.
And
right.
so the family, like as I said, spirit or their potential is the client.
Yeah.
It's an entity which sometimes they don't realize exists. And it hovers, the family conscience hovers over every family. And it's a thing. And very often it's implicit. It's felt, but people don't know what they are bending to. And when you like invoke it and allow it to flow and free it up, it can touch on miraculous basis. The members that were estranged come back. Brothers that don't speak can converge in their opinions and move forward together. It's really, a miraculous field.
I love how you talk about it. And I imagine that not many clients come to you with exact this request, like we want to draw from our family consciousness. So probably they come for something more specific when they want coaching around their family business. So what are some typical requests where they feel compelled to start a conversation with you?
So a first generation founder, dad or mom, is reaching 60, 65. They know they're infinite in this iteration of the body, and they have to exit, but they don't know how. They can't. Sometimes the business has been their real baby rather than the heirs that now coming up to inherit potentially. And that dialogue, enabling this dialogue, is awkward. So that's one of type of requests. And on the other side, the potential heirs or CEO, future CEOs, don't know how to be there. There's a shadow. They feel in the shadow of mom or dad or the founder. They are felt perception of others. Oh, that's a founder's daughter or son, and they can't fully stand and even imagine the new version of the family business that it could be under their helm, because the reality is different when it was set up 40 years ago. It can do completely different. Then very often it was survival, that motoring and motivational force driving that founder. But now it doesn't have to be. So what is this new modus operandi for me as a heir, so I can expand and not only recreate what dad or mom was doing?
Yeah. Right.
That's one type of dynamic or
Yeah.
dilemma that they come with.
Right, right. So they are quite interesting, quite deeper questions, right? So it's not necessarily about the business functioning, but it's also about who am I in this business, or how am I in this business, or with these people in this business?
Yeah, yeah, much deeper. Because the functioning of the business, I don't know if you know Frederick Laloux work and reinventing organizations.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Till type of organization.
Yes.
I think he shocked many people writing the sentence that the quality of the business depends on the consciousness level of its leader. So when we refine that, open it up, make it even a thing that people think about.
Yeah.
The business flows, the trust, it might take a while to rewire everybody, but that top figure or that top resonance will really trickle down through all layers of the organization and its ecosystem, because it's everything. It's the suppliers, it's the customers, it's how I project the brand out into the world, what is in my attractor field. So
Right.
yeah,
You know,
so to me,
all,
it has to be working on that level.
yeah, all team coaches are essentially systemic coaches. They work with teams as systems. But at the same time, when I hear you speak about families, it sounds like a family dynamic adds just another layer. So it's not just enough to see it at a systemic level. There's more to it, probably because there is so much history and, you know, just so much baggage in families. Does a coach who want to work with family businesses need to have any special trainings, maybe around family therapy or something of the sort, to be able to hold the complex dynamics?
So I went for a thorough training in family systemic constellations, but that theory that comes from systems and work really with the dynamics. And then I did a couple therapy course, but also not from psychology perspective, but from that systemic lens. And it equips you with language, with potential questions and inquiries, that you are looking at the diamond of that complexity. So yes, it's an additional layer. And I think it's more than a layer. It's like family systems are holographic. So it's not a like two-dimensional plane. It's really multi-dimensional influence, and they all face one another. And when you resolve one thing, it influences everything else in the system.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, what are some typical or maybe your favorite interventions that you would do with family businesses during your sessions?
Difficult investment decisions, which, for example, they try to make them rational. An M&A decision is based on EBITDA, and they're trying to convince and influence one another what is the right decision to make, whilst it's completely irrational, actually, when you dig deeper into a dynamic of why can't we even make this decision? I have done everything, the best consultants came in, made a presentation, and there's no influencing possible. Sometimes they see margins eroding and they can't sell the business because it's not about that at all. So I love getting involved when something is stuck in that layer of, we can't move forward. So something that it's in cycle or in circle, and we're trapped by something. And when you look at it from a family dynamic perspective, well, yes, there is a stuckness, and we can unravel that and help them move forward. I like the so that's one. The other one is what I said at the beginning, the founder and the heir, and how to hand over with grace and gratitude, allowing full like blessing from the founder down the generations. The other one is and that's from personal experience, when siblings cannot or don't get along, either within business, or maybe one is running the business and one isn't, because of whatever life story brought, and how to make, in this sense, love flow again, and let them really enhance one another in whatever ways they are living their own lives. That's another example. I'm working currently with a CEO within a like portfolio of businesses, and he is a natural successor to the chair of the whole board, and he still feels not ready or too small to occupy that space, not enough. So working through that, for example, dynamic.
Right. So how do your clients perceive it? For example, if they're bringing to a coaching session with you a business decision that they're arguing about, so to them, it's more about maybe the numbers or the rationale behind the decision, whereas you invite them to take a different perspective on it and look at it from their family dynamics perspective. So do they follow you? Do they accept your invitation with readiness normally and curiosity, or do they have some resistance to look into that, just because this may be a sensitive topic for many families, and many families may not have the skills to start or have those conversations?
Absolutely. And it's like with any coaching, you've got to have a certain either readiness or be so fed up with the recurrence of discussion that you say, okay, kiss or kick over the edge. Let's look at it from a different perspective, because they are very clever people. They are very well educated. If they knew themselves, they would have sorted it out already. So they come to a point where we can't resolve. So it either all collapses. And sometimes that's the right also flow of events. It has to be collapsed so they can rebuild something. And that collapse also needs a holding. And at least they consciously speak about that. So are we collapsing this business? Yes. Wow, how does that sound? Well, clean, at least clean. There's no more gossip or additional, blaming, or we are deciding collectively to collapse this business, sell it off, and everybody sails a different path. So closing or completing a cycle of business is also not a bad solution for some. So they have to be ready. Yes, right. And it's not for everybody and for every family. There has to be a certain readiness.
Yeah. How do you check for that readiness when you have your initial conversation with a potential client?
That's right. So first of all, deep self-reflection. And because I have a business background as well, and I love business and profit is good, I can ask them if they, and I've been in an M&A path, so I get EBITDA and I can speak the business language. And after we have explored and they answered themselves even what they have tried and how much money they spent on that type of advice that they got, and it got them nowhere, are you now ready to open up for something totally different? And I ask, and we try the coaching. So here is a question off the wall. Are you open to having a question you've never heard before? Yeah. Okay, I ask a question. And if it causes a deeper aha moment and a moment of silence, I know there might be a space. If they answer straight away, there is no listening yet that they can engage or allow marinating space for emergent to come.
Right. Right. So when you do family business coaching, how many participants do you have in your sessions? Is it with one coachee or is it with a few of them, or it can be either way?
Yeah, it depends on the subject of the coaching. Sometimes it's one person, sometimes it's the two. Usually after some preparation of individual work with both of them come into the room, and sometimes it's a board. So many family members. I also help them sometimes look at the family and have establish rituals, because it really has to come from that the business decisions from the family conscience, as we discussed. So if they don't have a convention or a meeting, I encourage them to set it up, and that again loosens some tensions or hidden strands, restricting the flow, and something else is possible.
No, I find this work really impactful. I remember when I was still a newer team coach, I had a session with two small business co-founders who were husband and wife. So they came to a session because they got stuck in their business. But something that emerged in that session was quite a difficult moment for me as a newer team coach, because at some point in the session, they realize that their conversation, kind of their flow of thought, is getting them nowhere. And then the husband dropped the question like, is it even worth it? Should we even be doing that? And the wife got silent. And I felt there was so much tension in the space. And I had a fear that they're going to either break up immediately after the session or just close the business immediately after that session. So I felt like, I need a lot of skill to hold this space in a way to, to normalize all that happens and have them have compassion and have them keep the feeling and help them find the best way for themselves. So that's really complex work. How do you take care of yourself as a coach, because you get to work with such complex dynamics?
You touched it takes a development of self. You
Yeah.
touched that when you were a newer team coach, all those fears and anxieties come up, and when you are disentangled yourself from an outcome, you can hold a clear space. And I do a lot of self-care. As they say on the plane, put your oxygen mask first and then you can help others.
Yes.
And when I'm working on fully centering myself, renewing that conviction, my own self-love, so I can hold more, go back to my family of origin and resource myself, walk in nature, grounding, and real disattachment to the outcome. At the end of the day, with the fullest respect, you leave it with the client. Sometimes I feel like a concert hall, just holding the music. And sometimes it's dissonance and sometimes it's harmony. So it's this massive space where we can really play out. And we rehearse and then play, rehearse, play, experiment, co-create. Very often them co-create in the space.
Right.
It's generative coaching.
Yeah.
And yes, working on your own energy and your own consciousness level. And deeper you go into yourself, the bigger dilemmas or space you can hold.
Yeah. And I sense a lot of compassion in you as you talk about all these different situations, right? And accept them as they are, and whichever outcome the family gets to, that's the outcome they're capable of, right? That's part of the journey.
Yes, it's really respecting their own faith on individual level and collective level. Because love, we think romantically about love and joy and ecstasy, but it also contains grief, pain. They are all part of the same field. And when you allow all that, parting, connection, belonging, it's all part of the same field. So I cultivate for myself objectless love. Which contain all those paradoxes.
And we always say, like, how you are is how you coach, right? So I imagine growing your own capacity for love also allows you to project that and bring that into space with your clients.
Yes, and the world is getting more and more ready for that depth. 5 years ago or 10 years ago, we wouldn't be speaking about love and leadership, or the L world wasn't in the business conversation. And now it is more and more, and I hear it more and more, and some people are more aware, and as we said, ready to engage in enhancing that for themselves, their communities and ecosystems and the planet than ever before. So it's wonderful to see growing field of like kindled, spirits.
Good. I also have a question to you that I often get from many coaches who I work with, and that's mainly coaches who got their coach training in alignment with the ICF framework and all the competencies that are established. And they often wonder whether work in different niches or using different approaches is fully aligned with what they learned, say in the ICF framework, in the ICF competencies, or are they expected to know something more or do something else? So you said you have a background in business, which makes it easier for you to facilitate those conversations. However, at the same time, it's not that you have conversations around business, right, with your clients, because your field of work is something else. So what is your take on this? Would someone operating with core coaching competencies be able to do family business coaching work, or if there's more that they need to learn to prepare for this?
Well, any structure which ICF competencies are, it's a structure, it's a framework. And we need structure, and then we need a flow of freedom within that structure to fully meet whatever is coming with the client. And at some stage, the structure, if it's fully knows itself, it has to collapse and recreate or get recreated. So you have to go beyond the initial structure within the code of ethics, of course, and holding. So there is something that you cannot compromise.
Yeah.
But everything else can be expanded, because let's remember that the structures and the framework has been put by people at a certain point of time. And in the next moment, it might be already obsolete. So if you are holding strictly to any structure or any framework, you can only see the world or experience the world through that lens or frame. Now, when you are unafraid, you can experience so much more. And I invite people to experience it all. So
Thank you so much for sharing. You know, I think we all learned something from you today. I have for sure. And it's not only about the subtleties around coaching family businesses, but it's also your mindset, you know, which you take into your work and how you approach your work and how much capacity you really have to hold the whole family system in their complexity. And I could definitely sense that through talking with you.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure.
What suggestions, if any, would you have for coaches who are interested in trying coaching family businesses? How can they get started and what could help them? How could they be successful in this work?
First, like a check or a diagnosis, if you wish, is if you're going back home to your own family of origin, are you fully free to be who you are now? Can you dance in front of family members the way you dance in the kitchen when you are alone? When you have that freedom, or you want to have that freedom, you enter a different space in coaching. And it doesn't mean that you cannot coach family businesses when you don't have that, but it might not be the fullest systemic way of holding the client, which is also fine because we are all on a different point of the journey, individually, systemically, collectively. So we all are part of a chain of events. The evolution is going. But that's my first question to people who want to enter this space.
Beautiful. I like that we are getting not a suggestion, but a question from you, just in the best traditions of coaching. So Ania would be very happy to share more about your work. If there are any links that you want to share with us, how people can contact you and work with you, where can they read about the work that you do? If you have any social media channels that you'd like our viewers to be directed to, we'll put all the links in the episode description.
Thank you very much. And I wish everybody a beautiful journey on in life. And yes, let's evolve to evolve everything else.
Thank you. Thanks so much for sharing your wisdom.
You're very welcome.